Hello, and welcome to another episode of Market Track with Abuzar. We are into March now, and we'll be taking a look at the housing activity within the Ottawa region and surrounding. Lots to cover. We're seeing increases in home prices, now increase in interest rates. How high will the interest rates go? The variable rates, because the fixed rates were already on the up and up. We'll discuss everything, lots to cover within this episode. Please stay tuned, and as always, please remember to like this video and to subscribe to my channel. So let's get going. Alright, so what's been happening recently? We just went through February, and what I'm seeing is more homes are entering the market. So more inventory in general, but again, as we'll see a new record high or new average for both categories of condominiums and for residential freeholds. So as we see more homes come on the market, the buyers are more pushing aggressively towards purchasing and hence increasing the overall average prices. What's to come? Lots happening. We've had a recent interest rate hike by Bank of Canada, 0.25%. And from talking to experts, it seems like they will bump it up another percent. So it might be about a total of 1% or 1.25 in the next 6 to 8 months. So please stay tuned on that because it will gradually impact the purchasing power for buyers and the overall market per se. Again, we don't know how the end result will be. Lots happening as well. We got a war going on with Ukraine. Things like that will always impact these outcomes. And as well, fixed rates have been increasing. So we've been seeing over the past few weeks the fixed rates are increasing, and the decision by Bank of Canada to increase the overnight rate, which impacts the variable rates, was for amount of 0.25%, which is bound to go up as well. So, you know, to give you an idea, as a buyer, perhaps would be an ideal time to go for and purchase a home if you have it narrowed down with your realtor in terms of your must-haves, and I wouldn't waste any more time. Do get that pre-approval. It's key to secure that rate for yourselves, you know, whether it's 30, 60 or 90 days, and sometimes they can do 120 days. So that's something that you could discuss with your mortgage broker. And as well for sellers, again, it is a prime time, as we discussed in the previous episode. You really don't know what's to come. You know, I don't see a diving in prices to that degree. Absolutely not. But again, a bit of a cool off would make a huge difference between the $10,000 to $20,000 for a seller. So it will somewhat impact, but a lot of variables to consider all in all. So let's get into this, taking a look at the Ottawa and surrounding first. First, I'll go through the number of sales and then the average sale price, and I'll let you guys take a look at the rest. Looking at the Ottawa and surrounding residential for 2022, number of sales 1,094 versus 2021 1,023. That's an increase of almost 7%. And taking a look at the average sale price for the residential freeholds, you are looking at for 2022 $837,000. This is we're looking at February, and almost $716,000 for 2021. That's an increase of 17% year over year, and that is, again, it's a new average we're facing, and similar thing happening in the condominium sector. The number of sales for 2022 326 units, and versus 2021 362. So that is a slight drop actually in the number of sales. And again, looking at the average sale price for the condominiums for the 2022, $466,000 approximately, versus the previous year at $407,000. That's an increase of 14.5%. So in both categories, we're seeing increases, and we'll get in more in depth towards as we go on, and I'll let you guys take a look at the rest. Now, getting into more specific stats, looking at the residential category, the freehold, and looking at the number of active listings versus sold listings, and look at the difference. Now you see this gap is constantly increasing, very similar pattern to what we saw even earlier than what we saw last year. So shortage of homes, more homes coming on the market, more inventory, but look at the number of sales. So as long as we see this gradual increase, so this gap increasing as we go by, we'll keep seeing the increase in overall prices, the average prices. 799 units sold versus 467 new listings versus last year, where it was almost very similar, 720 sold units and 373 active listings. And now taking a look at the sold price versus original price ratio, and this is very interesting. Look at it. It's pretty much repeating itself. 114.3% for the month of February. Looking at the previous year, almost the same thing, 114.6%. The pattern here, what happened was right around July 2021 till October, the average list price increased because of the increase in overall average prices. So the list price versus the sold price ratio really shrunk. Whereas now we're seeing a new height in terms of a number of average sales, and it will take a couple of more months for the list prices to get adjusted. So we'll see a similar pattern. We will see another drop, but that doesn't mean that the home prices will drop. It just means that the ratio between the list and sold prices will diminish. Now this is more specific. The next chart that we'll take a look at, and this is the average sold price, and look at this, we're into new heights now, almost $900,000 for residential freehold for the average. This is as highest we've ever been. The new reality that we're facing. What's to come, it's uncertain, but again, as long as we have low inventory, this will be continuous. And looking at the year before, this time February of 2021, you're looking at 788 versus almost 900,000 now in the residential sector. Looking at the days on the market, again, that's shrunk as well, very similar to what we saw last year. We were about 8 days a home will sit on the market until it sells overall on average, and looking at the year before, 10 days. So very, very similar to what we saw previously. Looking at the condominiums now, and again, interesting as we discussed, more pressure on the condo market now because of the residential, and we're seeing these changes. And looking at the number of list versus sold, looking at February, 312 sold units versus 230. Now we're seeing lesser number of units, condominiums, versus, for example, in September, where you saw it was completely the other way around. They had 500 and almost 60 available units and 350 sold units. And looking at the year before, similar pattern, 351 sold units versus 278 active listings last February as well. Now looking at the sold price to list price ratio, and we're looking at, look at that, almost very similar, 106% of asking, and looking at the previous year, February, 104%. Again, similar pattern we'll see with the residential as well. It will take a couple of months for the prices to adjust themselves. List prices will be more close to the sold prices, hence, but the price, the overall average price will continually go up, and we'll see in the next chart. All right, so look at the average now for the condominiums. We're seeing in February of 2022, 475,000 almost. Again, a new record for the condominium market. And looking at previous month, was the highest, and last year February 414. So 414,000 last year February, and now 475,000. So the condo market is heated as well, and continually seems to be that way. Looking at the days on the market, again, less, similar, 18 days, not much significant change for February. And looking at the year over year, 22 days. So it's pretty much very, very similar to last year. Rental market. And now we're seeing the impacts. We're seeing the impact of, a lot of individuals. Again, hence the rental market is starting up because of the seasonal aspect of things. And a lot of people, because of the heated market we're seeing, there's a bit of a portion of those buyers are shifting towards renting now because there's basically lesser options for them out there. Looking at the number of lists versus number of rented units, you're pretty much, we have 608 active listings and 385 rented units versus last year, which the number of units were less, 515 versus 327 rented units. So again, look at the difference between February and November, where we had 804 units, and again, I believe that's a seasonal thing. And on listings, we're seeing more, on rental listings, we're seeing more activity, 2 to 3 viewings per day. So things are picking up as well, and this gap between the number of inventory and the rented units will diminish as well as we're facing a hot market at the same time, getting close to the seasonal market for the rentals. Looking at the days rented rental unit sits on the market, it's about 30 days. Again, it depends on the time of year as well. It's a seasonal thing. As you can see, the peak or the best months between April to September, it's about 21 days overall, and then we're at 30 days now, which was the same thing last year, February. So no concern as far as investments or rental markets go, so that's what we have. If you guys have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than glad to answer any questions you might have. I love to chat with you guys. Email, phone, text, any form of communication is fine with me. I'll even love to drop by and see you over a cup of coffee perhaps. And overall, I'm optimistic because I see that there's changes being made through the interest rates. I think that's a good thing overall. Whether buyers are expecting a drastic change, not necessarily. I think we're from a administrative point of perspective, we're headed the right way in terms of controlling the market. But this is nothing that will happen overnight. So if you're a buyer, waiting for the whole thing to crash so you can buy something, which again I can get into how that doesn't work that way. I don't think that will happen overnight. It will take months and months, and if the prices are continually increasing, you don't want to be placed in the position to not be able to purchase something. And as a seller, again, because of the unknown factors out there, we do have a fluctuating market. So looking at it now, perhaps now would be the best time to sell, because you have the demand. The demand is there and it's not going anywhere for the next couple of months or so. So again, to take advantage of that, depending on your situation, I think that's something that you should consider. And I'm always available if you want to go over, sit down and discuss a strategy. So there you have it. I hope you took some notes from the episode and it was helpful. Until next time, take care.